Kastuba Das here with a big announcement for Wisdom of the Sages listeners. This August will be Ashram Month at the Super Soul Farm. Simple ashram living, rising early, morning kirtan, yoga and pranayama, healthy vegan and vegetarian meals, farm seva and being immersed in nature, and then gathering in the evenings for kirtan and readings. Plus, each week we'll have a lead presenter teaching a different facet of the philosophy and lifestyle of Bhakti Yoga. Week number 1 will be the exceptional Bhakti Lata teaching a course called The Beauty of Bhakti, bringing the culture of love and devotion into our lives. Week number 2 is my brother from another mother, Raghunath, teaching Falling in Love with Divinity, the Bhakti Yogi's method for opening the heart. And week number 3 is myself with a course called Following the Path, examining the history and teachings of Bhakti Yoga. You can come for 1, 2, or all 3 weeks, and the pricing is by donation. For more dates and information, go to wisdomofthesages.com/events. Peace.
Live from beautiful Warsaw, Poland, this is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily yoga podcast with your host, Raghunath, and Kastuba and Mara are on vacation. They're traveling back from Tuscany, and me and Paramananda Prabhu are on tour with Youth of Today. Oh, yes, I know. I don't look like a youth any longer. I have a white gray beard. I look more like Saint Nick. That's what Paramananda's been calling me. Saint Nick, ready to distribute gifts to people. But what can I do? I aged. Paramananda says, I know what you can do. You can shave off that beard, but we're going to see how that goes. If you're new to the show, welcome. This is our daily study of the Srimad Bhagavatam class. And so Paramananda is going to co-host the show with me today. And he's also going to be in charge of takeaways. You get some good takeaways. You put them on the board, and Paramananda will be looking at the board as well, the chat board. If you want to join us on Zoom, you can email the old Mara. This is the new Mara here. The old Mara at wisdomofthesages108@gmail.com. Wisdomofthesages108@gmail.com. What do you think about that, Mara, too?
Raghunath was like, we're going to have so much fun. We're going to squirrel all day. It's going to be nonstop squirrels for an hour. And then we get here. He's like all professional. He's like, okay, Prabhu, I'm doing most of the talking. You take notes. I was like, man.
He comes in here at 11:59 and expects like equal share of the microphone. What's he thinking? Anyway, we'll see how it goes. The announcements are real. Ashram week. Some of you are out there going, man, Kastuba lived in an ashram. Raghunath, Paramananda, they lived in an ashram. They don't say that about Mara because Mara never lived in an ashram, but like, what's it like to live in an ashram? Well, back then it meant everything. You got to give it all up. You got to give up your clothes. We had no clothes. We had, anything you wanted to keep, you put in a trunk and ship to your mom's house.
As a matter of fact, when we lived in the ashram, there was a box of clothes that everybody shared. You just picked the clothes out of the box. You didn't even have your own clothes.
You don't have to worry about fashion any longer. You're wearing what's ever in that big hamper. Yep. Yeah. And some people even gave up. They have a car. I know people just like, you take my car. They give their car to the temple and they just said, whatever, I want nothing anymore. I gave up my business. I had a record company. I gave up my record company. And the idea was that we don't want anything. We just want to serve Krishna and want nothing else to think about.
I sold my record collection and I gave all the money to Satyaraj to print Lives of the Vaishnava Saints. How cool is that?
I sold the record collection, gave him $3,000 to print East-West Dialogues.
Really? Yeah. Wow. I didn't know that.
He thanked me on the East-West Dialogues book. Satyaraj Prabhu was one of the first spoon feeders of bhakti to myself and then to Paramananda, and he was a great influence in our life. So anyway, if you ever want to live in an ashram, but don't want to give up all your clothes, all your possession, or your record collection, because some of the hardcore followers out there, like Sega's like, I got to give up my record collection. Yes, you do, Sega. Just kidding. You don't. You just have to sign up for a week or 2 weeks at Super Soul Farm, and you can come and experience what it's like, because there are a lot of great things living in ashram, like, going to bed early, waking up early, eating with a bunch of people, getting to know people, dealing in personal interactions with people, and just getting, and we have lots of like studying going on, regular kirtans going on. It's a real game changer. We wanted people to experience Ashram 2.0. And so we have that. Matter of fact, we stayed in Italy at the ashram in Tuscany. and a lot of people who were with us I was staying in a separate hotel. So it was sort of a pain in the neck, but a lot of the people staying in the guest house at the ashram, they were like, we're waking up early and going to Mangala Artik every morning. Now, Mangala Artik, that's the first Artik, the first worship in the temple every morning. It's at they call it the Mangala, the auspicious hours, because the sun hasn't risen yet. And so people go to this special Artik early in the morning. And our program didn't really start till 6:30, but they would get up early and go pack the temple room. And they just got inspired. And a lot of the comments I heard from a lot of the guests, students who came, were like, that was a game changer. I want to do Mangalarti every day.
I only went once, but it was beautiful.
You went once, Paramananda. You were staying right there. What was your excuse?
I was in a room with Maturananda and his brother Velcro, and we just stayed up and laughed till like 1 o'clock in the morning.
Okay, that happens too. That happens in an ashram too. You laugh so much you can't get up.
So when you do the Super Soul ashram, are you going to take the hot water nozzle off the shower?
Yeah, when me and Paramananda lived in the ashram in Philadelphia, whoever was the temple mechanic or temple keeper, they unscrewed the hot water. So there was just a cold water valve. Now, I don't know. I got to decide if we should make them only take cold shower. You know what? I think I got to look over the lot and see who we have.
Hey, that's part of the experience. The cold morning shower.
Cold morning shower. I should make them take it in the pond.
You could
make them take it in the pond. Maybe give them one tough week.
I think
tough it out.
You might have some people returning their money
right
about now. Pay it in the pond every morning.
Anyway, go to wisdomofthesages.com and click on Ashram Month. And also on the 19th, I'm going to make announcements. We're going to have a Wisdom of the Sages Janmashtami. It's going to be the first. Janmashtami is Krishna's appearance. We're going to make it a celebration. We're going to make and we're going to make it, lots of Krishna stories, lots of kirtan going on all day. We might even throw in a transcendental volleyball game because we have a volleyball net now. And why not? Why can't we just play with other devotees on Janmashtami? And if you're sort of too pure for that, you can sit in and read Krishna book to those playing volleyball. That's okay too. But we're just going to make it basically a party on the 19th where we feature Krishna and tell the Krishna stories. And we're going to have a big feast. And we're looking forward to that. Any other announcements? I have no squirrel today. But I did want to talk about, well, we must have some type of a Italy squirrel.
I thought the whole thing was going to be a squirrel.
Well, no, we got to read the Bhagavatam.
Aren't we going to talk about UFOs? And
well,
Krishna
very,
miracles?
very interestingly enough, there's this whole section is about UFOs. Now, those who read the Bhagavatam may not call it UFOs, but the Raghunath Tikis or the Raghunath purports will show how UFOs are all real and described in the Bhagavatam. There was a great story I was reading about Gokarna. Have you ever heard of Gokarna?
Yeah.
It's a place in South India. It's on the beach, and it's sort of like this Brahmin village on a beach. Because you see, there was this sage. Interesting story. If I can tell it, there was a sage, and he wanted to have a child. He's not text messaging anyone. He's writing down takeaways. He's listening deeply. Don't get illusioned by Paramananda writing messages on the phone. He's taking notes. So anyway, there was a sage, and he was married, and he wanted to have a baby, but his wife could not get pregnant. So he went to another sage and said, hey, listen, my wife cannot get pregnant. What can you do? So he had some fruit, and he did some mantras on this fruit and gave the fruit. He said, give this to your wife and have her eat it, and she will get pregnant. This happens. This still happens. Seriously. And so the wife, when she got the fruit, she was like, I don't want to raise a child. You got the baby's in the tummy for 9 months. And then you got to take care of the little baby, and the baby's crying. It's a lot to be a mom. And then you got to get the car seat. They always had the car seats in the rickshaws back then. That was always a problem. Just kidding. No one even reacted. No one even flinched for a moment. Anyway, she didn't want to have the baby. So what happened? She took that fruit and said to her sister. Now her sister was pregnant, and he said, "Listen, give me your child, and I will give you this fruit, and you could do with the fruit whatever you want with it." So anyway, they took the wife took that baby of a sister and said, "Hey, yeah, I'm pregnant. I had a baby." And my watch is always talking to me. I told you about the time I fell off the motorcycle and my watch asked me if I was okay.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
It was very sweet.
Your watch loves you.
I know. I didn't fall. It wasn't like anything. I was just turning it and it just sort of slipped because the road was, and I fell and my iWatch said, "Are you okay? Would you like me to call 911?" And I was like,
How sweet.
iWatch, you love me. No one loves me like you love me. And then the iWatch will say, "I think you should stand. You have been sitting too long. Please stand." I was like, all right, iWatch, I will. Anyway, back on the story. Where was I? Okay, so the sister took that fruit and just threw it to the cows. Now, interestingly enough, that had a lot of juju on it. That was a special piece of fruit and it was eaten by the cow. And the cow gave birth to a human baby, but had karna, the ears, right, of a cow. And that was called Gokarna. It was a famous sage. It became like a sage baby. And in the meantime, the sister's baby was a real rascal, did everything wrong. And the father who really wanted that baby, the original sage, he was like, oh my God. You know, it's true. Like you could think like, I will have a baby. It will be the joy of my life if we can only have a baby. And that baby could cause you all the problems of your life. Happens all the time. Our ideas for pleasure in this world sometimes are completely foiled again and again just by random, so-called random karmic events that come to life. I mean, you must know friends who drove their parents insane.
Me.
And besides you, you're not you did drive your father insane, but real bad seeds.
I think you drove my father more insane than I drove my father.
I've known Paramananda since you were like 16 or 17. And I was looked at as the bad seed, the drifter. Yeah, his dad called me a drifter once.
He did.
That's like the, I guess, and truthfully,
we were drifters.
Truthfully, we had no secure residence. Anyway, how did I get in this contact? Okay, so what happened was eventually that bad kid was such a naughty kid ended up dying. He got killed for his naughty behavior, and he took the body of a ghost. Ghosts are real, by the way, and he was suffering tremendously in his ghost body. Why? Because ghosts are. When we say this word ghost, we should understand it's a body, a subtle body that has no gross body. So imagine you have a mind that wants to enjoy something, but you can't pick up the fruit. Suppose you want to eat a mango, but you can't pick up the mango to actually eat it. So the subtle body looks for other gross bodies to inhabit. And those who are in tamagun, they enter into those bodies. So they have a weak, I don't know, force.
It would be at this point of the show where Kastuba would reel you right back in, but I'm not gonna. Keep going, Raghu.
Thank you. You know why? Because this is the main thing right here I'm getting to. Because the ghost who was miserable can't enjoy and cannot find a body to haunt. He approached his brother and said, "Oh, Gokarna, you've got to help me. You're a saintly person. What can I do in this life? I have so much suffering in this life. What can I do?" And Gokarna said, "There's only one thing that can help you. I think you want me to point out some tamasic being that you can enter in their body. Like if a person dies in tamas or lives a tamasic life, they're addicted to drugs or alcohol. It sets up entryway for spirits to enter their body. So that's why all these things about Vaishnava and Vedic hygiene have to do with being sattvic and keeping foul entities out of your psyche and out of your system.
You know what my guru told me?
What?
He said, first of all, when it's late at night, there's all these tamasic beings, these kind of ghostly beings that are in the atmosphere.
They actually come out at night.
Yes,
Ghosts actually come out at night.
And when you get intoxicated, you have some sort of like force field of whatever it is around you, like a natural kind of energetic force field. But when you get intoxicated, you create holes in that force field, and those haunting beings can enter.
Want to be. And
So
Vivi,
never get intoxicated at night. It's the worst thing you can do.
worst thing you can do. And Vivi's saying, but what about Ayurveda? No cold showers. No cold showers. I got news for you. Take a slightly cool shower. Just take a slightly cool shower. It doesn't have to be freezing shower. You don't have to do a Catherine A cold plunge, but just get some cool water on the body in the morning. Anyway, that's a squirrel. Now I'm getting back to the real main part of the story. The main part of that story is Gokarna was not going to give him temporary advice to be happy. Oh, just inhabit that guy. He's intoxicated. Just inhabit that lady. That person is in the mode of ignorance. No, he said, there is one way to get rid of your condition. He said, I'll do anything. I'll do anything. I'm so eager. I've been living in this way and I'm suffering tremendously. There is one way to get rid of the condition for good. He said, what? Hear the Srimad Bhagavatam. Hear the Srimad Bhagavatam. And so what happened was he gave class. Gokarna gave class on the Bhagavatam for 7 days. The Bhagavat Sapta, he gave it for 7 days in a row. And so many great personalities came around and were listening. And immediately on the 7th day, out of nowhere, the Vishnu Dutas came and they saved him, and they came and they took Gokarna. And first they gave him a Vishnu Duta body. They gave him a body like a Vishnu Duta, a servant of Vishnu. And they took
Gokarna or the brother.
They did it to the ghost. They gave the ghost a spiritual body. And then they took him away. And all the other sadhus listening were saying, oh, Gokarna, you are a very great sage. This is not fair. It seems like you are favoring your brother who was a ghost. But look at us. We have come here. We are very eager. I thought you were supposed to be a pundit. You were supposed to see us all equally, but you played favorites to your brother. And Gokarna said, no. He showed he had such incredible desire to hear the Bhagavatam that's why he was transformed instantly. You are all listening to the Bhagavatam, but your minds are here and there. It's not really focused on the main essence of the Bhagavatam. So here we are, another day of the Srimad Bhagavatam.
You know what it's like? It's like Gopal. When he was at the end of his life, to hear the Bhagavatam, it was so important to him. It was so immediate to him. He was listening just with rapt attention.
Like Gopal Chandra, with rapt attention. Yeah,
Makes a difference.
Our good friend Gokulananda too is suffering tremendously. He was one of the persons that Gopal asked me, please give me Gokulananda's phone number. I need to contact him. And Gokulananda, he was a brahmachari on used to play mridanga for us on pilgrimage before Janeshwar. And one of the ladies on our trip, Megan Sloan, her name is Manjari Gopika. They ended up getting married. They met on that trip, and I guess Gokulananda he gave Gopal a lot of inspiration and bhakti on that trip, and because of that, Gopal wanted on his last days wanted to reach out to him and thank the devotee who put a lot of love in his heart. So anyway, Gokulananda has now reached out to me, and he's going through a lot of Face ID, sorry. He's going through a lot of pain. He's having some spine surgery. We can say some prayers for Gokulananda. Very sweet soul, disciple of Raghunath Swami, now dutifully married and living in Texas with their family. And he's going through some pain. So recently I put up on the board, hey, notice. Please notice this guy's got a GoFundMe page if you want to help out with him. But that's another thing, is we remember, this is a big part of our bhakti too. We remember the people who've given us bhakti. We pray for them. We want to serve them. We cherish them in our hearts. Even if those persons are not even in good standing anymore, we pray for them. We think about them. We cherish them in our heart. And by doing that, we stay appreciative and we stay in connection with the divine plan that's actually always unfolding around us. Anybody trying to get in here? Okay, somebody's unmuted here. I can't figure out who it is. Maybe Crystal. Oh, Crystal got unmuted. Okay.
going to read the chat.
Yeah, you could read the chat, and I'll drag you back. I'll be the Kastuba of the two. I think I'm much more like Kastuba than you are.
Can I, Squirrel?
Yeah, sure.
Can I tell a story? Anybody want to hear a Krishna miracle? Raise your hand on Zoom if you want to hear a Krishna miracle. Because we heard a doozy this weekend from Satchidananda Swami. This is actually from Satchidananda Swami, personally told this story. Now, these Krishna miracles, they actually give me a lot of faith that Krishna is real and he reaches through time and space and he helps people immediately. So Satchidananda Swami said he was at Govardhan Hill. Govardhan Hill is this very sacred place in Vrindavan. It's actually a mountain. And he was he was saying he was in sort of a sad consciousness. He was in a desperate consciousness, feeling very vacant in his life, feeling very far from Krishna. So he was sitting there and he was chanting. And his mood of his chanting was, Krishna, where are you? Please speak to me, Krishna. Krishna, if you're there, please show yourself. Please speak to me. In a very desperate mood. Sometimes you chant in that desperate mood. It's actually a great mood to chant in. And he said that in that moment, a huge black cobra attacked him. And he was frozen in fear as this black cobra is slithering towards him. I mean, it's absolutely terrifying. At that moment, 2 green parrots attacked the black cobra, and the cobra was trying to fight them off, and they were pecking at the cobra's eyes and scratching the cobra. The cobra was spending time on these parrots, and it gave Satchidananda Swami just enough time. He couldn't even grab his bag to kind of run away, and he escaped from that cobra attack. The cobra was literally trying to attack him and bite him. He goes, my dear everyone, parrots do not attack cobras. Mongooses attack cobras. He even said peacocks attack cobras. I didn't know that. Yep. But it was a Krishna miracle. These parrots came down and in an conventional way, they attacked that cobra.
I think we need Krishna Miracle Day again. I think
without a doubt.
Because
that was one of my favorites.
These Krishna Miracle Day, that makes you really like these things just what am I trying to say?
You know what they are? They're testimonials that Krishna is real and Krishna has appeared in people's lives. I think they're amazing.
I think they're amazing too. And it's almost worth writing down all your Krishna miracles too. That way you don't forget them. Okay, my dear everyone, please write down your Krishna miracles and keep the magic that is Krishna at the forefront of your mind.
All right, let's get into the Bhagavatam.
Let's get into the Srimad Bhagavatam. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam mudirayat. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances to the Supreme Lord Narayan, unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and to Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayeshu badreshu nityam bhagavat sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtaki. By regular attendance in classes in the Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart will become eradicated. In loving service to the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, will be established as an irrevocable fact. Om Jnana Timarandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chaksurun Mudatam Nena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my teachers are opening my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my obeisances at their lotus feet. I think it's safe to say, Paramananda. There we go. I think it's safe to say that my American sensibility, if I can share my American sensibility with you, my American sensibility says, why are we always offering our obeisances to our teachers? Our teachers, our teachers. Who are these teachers that are so arrogant, that need our praise, that need our worship, that need our, right? That's immediately my New York City, narcissism kicks into gear. Who do they think they are, these teachers of mine? But the fact is, we are offering our respect. We're paying it forward to the people that have given us something. And because someone might say, well, look at Kaustubh and Raghunath. They're just trying to become the gurus here. I see what's going on. Oh, worship the teachers, worship the teachers. I get it. You're the teachers. Worship us. That's not the point, because the teachers at themselves, they're worshiping their teachers. The teachers are saying, anything I got from my teachers. I'm saying the same damn prayer. If you're looking at me as your teacher, I got news for you. I'm saying the same damn prayer to my teacher. I'm not holding on to this. Now, to the degree that I hold on to it, that's where there's a problem. If Matt Godin looks at me and says, Raghunath, by your mercy, he hasn't said that yet, but I'm just putting that in his mouth right now. Raghunath, by your mercy, I've got so much information here to change my life. My mood should not be, yeah, Matt, yeah, I'm glad I could help you because I'm so damn wise. No, that's not the mood. My mood is, hey, I know nothing. There's nothing going through me. The only reason why there's something going through me is I'm plugged in to a teacher. And guess what? That teacher is saying, hey, I got nothing in me. I'm just plugged into my teacher. And this is how it works. The lamp, I'm looking at a lamp right now, has no energy in its own. It's a very beautiful lamp. It's a very charming lamp, right? But the lamp has energy when it's plugged in, and that source gives it light. We are like that. We get plugged into source by dealing with people who are connected to source. And then we appear to have information. And if I put that information to use, then my life becomes very powerful. And, it reminds me of that question that who asked it the other day about how do you know how to dress the deities? Did Karuna ask that question? It's a good question. How do you know how to dress the deities?
It was Karuna.
It was Karuna. How does the priest know what to dress the deities? The deities wear different clothes. So, I don't know if I answered that question a little bit, but sometimes have you ever had somebody, and a lot of you guys listen on Zoom every day, and a lot of others out there listen every day. When you listen to the Bhagavatam on a regular basis, one of your friends or family members might ask you a question, and some answer will come out of your mouth, and you don't even know where that answer came from, right?
Right.
It's like almost like God speaking through you. And this is what's starting to happen is our own personal ideas of right and wrong and good and bad and how to fix things in this world, which have been askew my entire life, are now coming, what's the word I'm looking for? Help me out here. They're coming reintegrated with reality. And so sometimes I'll say something and wow, I don't know where that came from. And the same is true with our deity worship. You get some inspiration. How should I dress the deities today? Because it's no longer you anymore. It's Krishna's working through you. Actualize, that's the word. Thank you, professor. She is a professor after all. Good word. Okay.
It's so nice about our culture that we love to give praise and we don't like to get praise. You know what I mean? It creates a beautiful culture between people. We're always looking up. We're always trying to give praise upwards. If you ever want to see an uncomfortable person, you should see my guru on Vyasa Puja when everybody's worshiping him.
I was going to say the same thing. I remember going to your guru's Vyasa Puja many years ago, and it's like, I've never seen him so disturbed.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, don't praise me. Oh my God, don't praise. Because the Vaishnava, it's like the worst thing to get praise. I know that sounds crazy because we're thinking in our minds, we don't want to receive the praise. We want to offer the praise. We don't want to take the service. We want to give the service.
In a world where everybody is trying to get the praise for themselves, it's refreshingly beautiful to see something like that, isn't it?
It's another sweet thing about devotee or bhakti culture is we're trying to see the good and let people know why we appreciate them. Now, when we get that praise, when you're part of that culture, don't hold on to it. Give it back to somebody else. Say, well, it's by the mercy of my teachers or by the mercy of my community or by the mercy of my guru. We give the praise immediately back. We don't want to hold on to it because that praise becomes very heavy upon us. But it does create quite wonderful dynamics within the community compared to a community that just cuts each other down. Real nasty.
All right, we're going to hear about some UFOs today.
Of sorts. We're in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 22, Text 48. The great sage Maitreya continued, being thus worshipped by Maharaj Prithu, the 4 Kumaras, who were masters of bhakti, became very pleased. Indeed, they appeared in the sky and praised the character of the king, and everyone observed them. You know, there's a mystic power called Deva Darshana. Have you ever heard that?
No.
It means you can see the devas. It's some type of mystic power that it's almost like people, I saw an angel. You know what I mean? It's like a Deva Darshan. It's a mystic power where you see beings that are not visible to most people. In the purport, it said, it is said that the demigods never touch the surface of the earth. They walk and travel through space only. Like the great sage Narada, the Kumars do not require any machine to travel in space. This is a UFO purport. It's almost as if
they didn't have the UFO.
Yeah, they don't
even need the UFO.
No. But it's as if Kosua set me up for this purport. There are also residents of Siddhaloka. Now, that's a loka means planet. So a Siddhaloka is the planet of perfected being, the Siddhas. That is to say, they are called Siddhas. They have acquired all mystic and yogic powers. Such great saintly persons who have attained complete perfection in mystic yoga are not visible in this age on the earth, not visible in this age on the earth, because humanity, this is a good one, humanity is not worthy of their presence. Yeah, what makes you think some devas are going to appear to us? We're so not qualified. We're living in the gutter. We're living in the gutter. Or like as Jiva G Life Coaching says, she pointed to her head and she goes, I got a bad neighborhood up here. I got a ghetto going on up here in the brain. How are we expect to see higher beings when our consciousness is low? It's tied to the lowest things of this world.
Why would they come here? It's literally like the ghetto of the universe.
I was criticizing, Sammy, our drummer, whom we love. He was saying, I was criticizing New York City. I was like, how do you like New York City? New York City is disgusting. And he's like, well, New York has so many great opportunities for culture. I was like, when have you ever done anything cultural in New York City? Don't give me this. And also, what is the culture anyway? We just think art is culture. Music is culture. It is a culture in one sense, but we have a different metric here in our Vedic perspective of what culture is. We were saying this the other day as well. When I was 16, I wrote a song called Culture Sucks.
Oh, yeah.
16. I was 16, okay? I was 16. And I hated the idea that it was presumed that we should love to go to museums and love art and love music. And I always felt like, why? Why must I do that? Why must there be etiquette where how you sit at a table and use the small spoon first, and then the bigger spoon, and then this is the steak knife, and this is the salad fork? Who cares? Who came up with these rules anyway? But the idea of culture is that culture is, especially within a spiritual paradigm, culture is made to bring the consciousness higher. So yes, dance and art are culture, but we want to keep the main thing the main thing. And it's not just to say, hey, look at my art, because art could just be, a representation of someone's big ego. Look at my great art. Come on, we know musicians who are filled with their ego, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just because you're a great musician doesn't mean, and this is what I was trying to tell Kostuba the other day. He wouldn't listen to me, but he's not here, so I can say it. Just because there's a great artist doesn't mean it's all spiritually inspired. You could be inspired. You could be just completely in your ego. It doesn't mean you don't have Shakti, but there's a lot of people with power, Shakti, artistic Shakti. They're empowered leaders. They're empowered musicians. They're empowered sculptors, but they could be madmen. You know what I mean? There could be, and you see this a lot. There's people that are child geniuses, but they're mad.
Kostuba was saying at the retreat that, he went to all these museums, and I think it was in Rome. He saw that one statue of the lady that went to Jesus. And when everybody was throwing stuff at him, mocking him when he was on the cross.
Yeah, it was, who was it? Saint Samantha?
It wasn't Samantha.
Saint Samantha.
Someone put on the chat board. How can we see the chat board? Anyway, Kasuba was saying that art used to be where an artist would see sacredness. He'd see something sacred, something that was uplifting to the consciousness, and they'd put a frame around it. This was a sacred moment. This was a moment this was a teaching moment where we can learn something from it. Let's make this into art so we can freeze that in time, and people will look at this and they'll pick up on that same sentiment. These days you go to like an art show and it's like some buffoons splash some paint on a canvas and then they put a frame on that like it's supposed to be sacred.
I'm with Paramananda, and people may disagree. Buffoon, art, splash some paint on a canvas, and we call that art. Art should bring us higher. It should get us deep. It should get us connected. I'm not saying that otherwise. I mean, in the absolute sense, we're talking here. Music and art can be a diversion, right? Just like a movie. If movies, not even like horror movies, but even a love movie that teaches you like there is a soulmate out there that will make you complete, like a Titanic, where it's like it's a great movie and you cry and there's romance. In that sense, it's good. But unless it brings us to a higher place, I mean, when I see a romantic movie, it gets me out of my connection with God. It makes me look at, I'm feeling empty because I don't have the right lover in my life. I mean, come on. How many times have we left a lover for another lover because she's not loving me right or he's not loving me right? But this lover, that's going to be different this time. We have an original love, and that's with Krishna. That's the love we're looking for. You can try many people, and many people do try many people, but there is one lover in your life. Kelly Skinner, the Bright Light, will tell you, the first time I met her, she said, I'm looking for a soulmate. I said, hey, give yourself a year. Give yourself a year of dating. I said, your next lover should have ankle bells and a peacock feather in his hair and be blue. That was my advice to Kelly Skinner. Okay.
Let me tell you something. Everybody should appreciate Raghunath because he's working so hard up here. The heat coming off this guy is making me sweat. I'm not even kidding. I'm not even kidding.
I'm sweating right down my underwear. I kid you not. I'm sitting in a pile of sweat.
He puts a lot into this.
You feel that heat? I'm
I'm sweating because you're sweating. It's unbelievable.
I'm really sweating, man. I did that kirtan with Maharaj the other day. I didn't even move. My body just started sweating. I don't know. Those are too personal to share, but I'm glad you shared it. Thank you, Prabhu. By the mercy of my teachers, I will sweat.
By the way, please put takeaways on. Help me out. Put them in the chat, people.
Takeaways on the board, please. Okay, let's get back to this mystical UFO purport. Such great saintly persons who have attained complete perfection in the mystic yoga are not visible in this age because humanity is not worthy of their presence. The Kumaras, however, praise the characteristics of Maharaj Prithu and his great devotional attitude and humility. The Kumaras were greatly satisfied by King Prithu's method of worship. It was by the grace of Maharaj Prithu that the common citizens in his domain could see the Kumaras flying in outer space. You know what your guru said once. You probably would remember this, but someone challenged him in a class. We always hear about these demigods and people are seeing demigods. Well, why don't we see them anymore? He said, it was such a good answer. He said, when I was little, Coney Island was like a place people would, respectable people would take their children. You know what I mean? It was like a seaside town. It was fun. It was charming. He goes, now no respectable people will go to Coney Island. It's a big mess. It's a ghetto. It's dangerous. Things have just changed. Do you remember like when we used to play shows at, what was that place in New Jersey?
Yeah, Stone Pony.
The Stone Pony. Where was that, Jeff Eisenberg?
Asbury Park.
Asbury Park. Now Asbury Park's up and coming again. But it was like a beautiful seaside town, I think in the 40s and the 50s. That's where
we played there with Blink 182.
We played there with Blink 182. Yes, we did. And so I think someone can Wikipedia the Asbury Park, but it was like, Wikipedia that for me, Mara.
You're going to I'm going to freaking give you punch in a second.
You're going to give me punch? Punch means 5. That's a little Sanskrit goody glossary. Punch means 5. That's where they got the word punch in the nose. 5 in the nose.
What do you want me to
Look up what's this? Asbury Park. Just I'm curious. Look Wikipedia. Because it was like this beautiful town at one time, and then it just went total ghetto. When we were young, it was total ghetto. They had one club there that Bruce Springsteen started at, and after that, now it's on the up and up. So he's saying, why would demigods come to this planet? Look what you've done to this planet. Look what we've created on this planet. Why would any higher being who lives in a higher neighborhood, so to speak, ever want to come to this Kali Yuga-ridden planet? What do you got for
It
me?
says Asbury Park is a small seaside city. It's famous for its live music venues, which include the Stone Pony, which has hosted Bruce Springsteen, John Bon Jovi, and Shelter.
It says Shelter in Wikipedia. Just kidding. Although we did play there with No Doubt too. Remember that?
Did we?
Yes.
No, that
We-
wasn't the Stone.
It wasn't the
Pony.
Stone Pony. It was the place across the street. Okay. Anyway. Oh, look, Samantha Burrier, Professor Snooky saying, I'm right there. I live right there.
It's nice now.
It's nice now. You didn't get, there was race riots there. It was a whole thing. Anyway, let's get on with the show, please. You are such a squirrel, man.
Tota Gopinath, the devotee tattoo artist, has a place there.
Have you noticed there's so many, in the last decade, there's more devotee tattoo artists than ever before.
Great.
I know.
The world needs them.
The world needs them.
Raghunath has been tattooed by every single one of them.
All right, here. What are we? Okay, no, I got to read the verse. Okay. Text 49. Amongst great personalities, Maharaj Prithu was the chief by virtue of his fixed position in relation to spiritual enlightenment. You want to be the chief? That's the qualification. He remains satisfied as one who has achieved all success in spiritual understanding. Let's purport that. Remaining fixed in bhakti gives one the utmost self-satisfaction. Actually, self-satisfaction can be achieved only by pure devotees who have no desire other than to serve the personality of Godhead. Do you know that verse?
Sakarma.
Bhukti Mukti Siddhi Kami Sakalaya Shanta. Krishna Bhakti Nishkama
Yeah.
Sakalaya Shanta Bhukti Mukti Siddhi Kama Sakalaya Shanta. That means it's only the Krishna Bhakta that can actually be satisfied. Because what do people want in this world? Bhukti. That means I want to enjoy this world, right? And though, if you're smart, you get to this point where like, big deal. What's in this world anyway? I'm sick of this world. The more I eat, the more I get a stomach ache. The more I engage in sense gratification with the same sex, opposite sex, the more I feel distraught or empty or broken, or now he's mad at me or she's mad at me. No more relationships, saving wealth. And then I lost all my wealth. I don't want any desires. I want mukti. So the bhuktis, they're not satisfied. They have desires. The muktis, they still have the desire to get rid of their pain. The siddhis, those who want mystical powers, that's still a desire. So how do you actually become satisfied? You got to, like the Buddha sort of said this. They said you got to get rid of all desires. But the yogis say, or the bhakti yogis say, you actually can't get rid of desires. We inherently desire. You just have to desire, I want to give my love to Krishna. That's our only desire. I want to give my love to Krishna and all the other devotees.
What's the name of the Shelter record?
The perfection of desire. Boom, that's it. It always goes back to a Shelter song or record. We've covered every topic in every song, all Vedic topics. Okay. Perfect your desires. Paramananda is writing that down as a takeaway. Remaining fixed in bhakti gives the utmost satisfaction. There we go. Similarly, a devotee who has no desire other than to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead is as self-satisfied as the Supreme Lord. Right? You meet these devotees, these devotees who have nothing, and they're just like so happy. Because it's such simple math. Our pain is in our desires. Kama doesn't mean, like, even the word kama or lust means I don't have, I want. And when I want something, it means I just can't, it means I'm frustrated. That's why if you really want to be a master of comma, you have to get rid of comma and you have to refine your comma. You have to refine your comma to only want to serve. You can't refine comma. Don't read the Kama Sutras to refine your comma. It won't give you actual satisfaction. You think by satisfying your comma will go away? It will make you want, let's do that. No, that was good. Now let's do it again. It'll just make you want to do it again. And you'll be disturbed. And where does that disturbance go? It goes in the mind. It goes in the mind.
What's that line from the Shelter Song Consumer? Pouring oil on the fire? What's it?
Pour it. Okay. The consumer always pays the fee with great hope and anxiety, but we're always left wanting more. Oh, wait a second. Nope. Okay. Look it up. Look it up. Google consumer lyrics. All right.
Let's hope we don't have to Google the Youth of Today lyrics tonight.
I know I might have to Google the lyrics tonight. I can't believe I've got to shave this beard. Please put on the message board if this beard should come off right now. I want to see if Paramananda votes yes. I vote who cares, but I want to hear the votes. Oh, Scott says yes, and he's not even hardcore. Oh no, that means he just thinks I'm ugly. Oh, I got a bunch of no's. Oh, Isabel says no. There's a bunch of yes. It's summer. Oh God. Sebastian says no because we look alike.
The mustache. I like that one.
Just keep the mustache. I love seeing a strong trim, says Stephanie Berman. Maybe a strong trim.
All right, this is great. Here's the lyrics. Magazines fill the aisles for hobbies, clothes, and styles, selling us more all the while. Commercials tell us what to acquire, planting seeds of desire, pouring oil on the fire.
Yeah. Oh my God, there's a fire in here. There's a big fire in my room. Hey, let's get that bucket of oil and pour it on the fire. That should extinguish. No, it doesn't extinguish the fire. What does it make it do? Fire goes up. Fire goes up. You think it's good, right? What happens when you pour oil in the fire? It goes down for a moment and then it goes up bigger. Isn't that true? What a perfect analogy for sense gratification. You think you're going to fulfill your sex life with sex? Good luck. It'll fulfill it for that moment. And then what happens? Then sexual thoughts will plague the mind again and again. What's the best way to deal with sexuality is you regulate it. You regulate it so you control it, so it doesn't control you. Write that down. Take away. So you control it. It's the same with anything that we have. Anything that we have that is controlling us, we must regulate it. That's the Yoga Sutras. That's the Bhagavad Gita. We must regulate it so we control it and it doesn't control us. Boomba. Let's try to see if I can sneak in another verse. Yeah. Pouring oil on the fire.
You got to leave time to take a shower. You cannot go in
freaking smell.
The dude is sweating.
I'm sweating and smelling.
You got to appreciate him, man. He puts a lot into this.
You know what? I'm also going to do a cleanse on this tour because I've been eating a lot in Italy. There's something about Italy. They put so much love in their food. I was like, you know what? They love their food and I'm going to love their food too. And I take off. And Vivi's always on my back, riding me out. She's always like, Raghunath, gluten-free. You got to get off that. You can't eat it. One more thing of pasta. And I'm like, Vivi, you clam up. You can preach to me in Zurich, but do not preach to me at all about dietary restrictions in Italy. But you know what? I'm in Polish. What's the best thing I got to get in Poland? I'm in Poland today. Going to Germany. They don't know how to cook over there either. No, Germans don't know how to cook. The best thing they got is Italian food in Germany. The best thing they got in Germany is Italian restaurants. Sorry, Germans, but you know I'm true. And Mikhail Rosselli is laughing in the background. He's like, it's true. You know what's interesting about Italy too? Squirrel me this, is you drive by all these trattorias. Every night they're packed. They're just, Italians are just eat every night. Every restaurant is packed. And you know, it's not like a Thai restaurant or a Chinese restaurant. It's an Italian restaurant. Every Italian restaurant, and they don't call them Italian restaurants. They just call them like trattorias, I guess, which means, what does it mean, Samantha Burrier, Professor Snook? Put it out. What does trattoria actually mean?
You know what else I don't get? They're all skinny. All the Italians are skinny.
Yeah, you know why? It's there's no Roundup sprayed on the foods, or there's not inflammatory pesticides. Samantha Burrier, she says, just a casual eating place versus an osteria which is more fancy. Oh, an osteria. Very interesting. I passed a few osterias. I thought they served ostrich. I actually thought, I was like, wow, exotic meats. Okay, osteria means, okay, I get that now. So trattoria just means like a regular eating place. And their regular food is filled with so much love. But look what happened to me. I became like a glove jumping with legs. Things have to change. I'm getting older.
You know what it was? It was actually the gelato.
The gelato.
Lori Pag's right. It's the gelato.
It's the gelato. It's just,
it's so delicious, man.
okay. Anyway, let's finish this up in style. Let's read one more verse. Being self-satisfied, Maharaj Preacher executed his duties as perfectly as possible according to the time and his situation, strength, and financial position. His only aim in all his activities was to satisfy the absolute truth. In this way, he duly acted.
Can you imagine if we had politicians that were like this?
What a world it would be.
You know, he's basically the president. He's a politician. He's the one that's taking care of people.
But he's being directed not by like affairs of his political party. He's got to walk the line of what is truthful. You know, that's what they say. The right wing and the left wing, they're the two wings of the same bird.
Yeah.
You know, that's why I really appreciate this, especially Kustu. We try to keep the main thing. We focus on Krishna Bhakti. We don't vacillate on political sides on the show. We just try to keep the worship of Krishna important, not try to create division. And it's not like we're great politicians ourselves anyway, but, and you'll find there's good teachings in both. I mean, what I find is people genuinely have good hearts, but they're just going about different ways to achieve their means. But imagine if your heart was aligned with the values of Vedic Dharma. That is what's beautiful about Maharaj Preacher.
You know, if you want to be miserable and riddled with anxiety, get into politics. You know what I mean?
These people who do politics like for their job, I feel bad for them. They're always suffering.
I mean,
and you know why? Well, you know why? If I veer off and listen to some news program, I'm suffering.
Yeah, I do it too.
You veer off occasionally?
Yeah, all the time.
And how do you feel afterwards? Filled with joy, self-satisfied?
No,
no one does. No one feels. You want to feel real joy, you hear Krishna Leela. You fill your heart, because life is short. Gopal told us this. He was just turned 40 when he left his body. Guess what? It could happen to any of us in any moment. Everything could change. Anything could change. You know what? Warsaw was bombed to nothing. Everything you see in Warsaw is pretty much new. It was bombed to nothing, you know, and all our friends in Ukraine, they got bombed in a moment. It was bombed. Your health, it can reverse in a second. Life is so short. Why waste it with anything else? What real news do you need to know anyway? Take care of your own consciousness more than anything. What I can control, I can't control a lot of things in this world. Even the things that really drive me crazy, I can't control them. You know what I can control? My thoughts, the way I treat people, the way I treat myself. I can control that. What I hear, what I ruminate on.
You know what it is? We're going on this Youth of Today tour. It's the Youth of Today formula. The Youth of Today was like, okay, we're going to change ourselves. We're going to be straight edge. We're going to be vegetarian. We're going to try to be better people. And when you do that, it's so inspiring to other people. You know what I mean? Everybody you meet, everybody you touch, everybody you talk to, that's really how things change. They don't change your right wing and left wing and this and that and bills and politicians. It's really just like a grassroots movement of people that change themselves.
That's what we're here about. It's putting the microscope back on me. All right, Paramananda, Prabhu. I think it's time for takeaways. It's that time. Somehow you got to switch that phone from the takeaway phone. Oh, you know what? I wonder if they come up on the screen. That way you can queue up, or I can queue up the song. Let's see if the takeaways came up here. Oh, it worked. Your takeaways are right here.
Oh my God, that's ingenious.
It's magic. All right, I will get the song queued up.
All right. Well, I wrote down some takeaways too. So what are we going to do? I have takeaways too. Oh, that's magical. All right. Takeaway number 1. Give it all away and join the ashram. Can't take it with you anyway.
Give it all to Raghunath and Paramananda. We're your gods.
Or you go to the 2-week ashram, then you can keep everything you have. You may have to bathe in a pond, but you get to keep your stuff.
Paramananda, somehow he turned their beginning advertisements into takeaways. Good job.
You know what's interesting? When I joined the ashram, I sold everything I owned. My t-shirts, my furniture, my records, everything that I had, my books, everything was gone. You know what was the one thing that I kept?
What?
My guitar.
Oh, interesting.
Somehow Krishna knew I was going to need that.
I got rid of everything. I have no memories. I don't even have my own band's records.
Me neither.
Isn't that crazy? We have nothing.
Sometimes you go to these musicians' houses and it's like a shrine to themselves. It's like all their records and, posters all over the wall. I don't have any of that stuff. All right. Krishna Volleyball is a community builder. What do you think of that?
I think it is. I think that's a good takeaway. Krishna Volleyball is a community builder.
Kastuba may not like that one, but we like it. All right. Hear the Bhagavatam. Oh, what happened, dude? Sorry. Hear the Bhagavatam with rapt attention, like Gokarna's brother.
Hear it with rapt attention, and Lord Vishnu will personally come and take you out of this world.
Good one. Remember the people that gave you bhakti. Who was one of those people that you remember that gave you bhakti?
Satyaraj Prabhu.
Yeah, me too. Great soul. Love Satyaraj. Krishna miracles are testimonials that Krishna is real.
It's all real.
Seek to praise, not to be praised. What's that Shelter song?
In praise of others. That's a good one.
All the topics.
We covered all the topics pretty much. It's over. But no, it's true that I really like how you wrote that. Seek to praise, not to be praised. That is Mara's got a tattoo her body. You got to get more tattoos.
No.
You're 55. You got nothing to live for.
No more tattoos, man. The game's over.
My game just started. Why not? Who cares?
I just don't feel the need. Anyway, the last time I got this tattoo, it hurt so much.
You're not getting a job. Who cares?
I was just thinking, this hurts so much. Why am I doing this? I'm paying somebody to torture me.
Yes, that's really what it is.
All right. Anyway, if you have tattoos out there, we love you. Culture sucks unless it brings you higher.
Yeah, culture sucks unless it brings you higher.
A little nod to old school hardcore. Some of you will realize the song that we're going back to. Perfect your desires.
Perfect them. Don't just have desires. Don't try to get rid of your desires. That's not going to work. Refine what you desire. Desire to serve the devotees and Lord Krishna. Be eager. You can be eager. You can be ambitious to capture Krishna. That's okay.
You know what's funny? You ever go to those meditations? I remember before I got into bhakti, I would go to meditations where they're like, clear your mind.
Empty your mind. Look, I don't know where yoga got this one from. Look at the candle. Observe the candle.
Well, that is in the Yoga Sutras.
Observe the candles in the Yoga Sutras.
Yeah. He says you can just to focus your mind. You can either focus it on a candle, but Patanjali says better to focus it on Krishna because then Krishna reaches down and helps you.
Better choice. Yeah, I mean, you could do the yogic practice of Tratak where you're gazing and it's practice holding your mind. But where are we going with that holding your mind? Just like saying, okay, yeah, it teaches you how to drive a car. Where are you going to drive to? People?
That's why japa is so powerful because you're not emptying your mind. You're actually focusing your mind on Krishna.
Yeah. ADD people out there, japa, it's for you.
It's great.
That should be a t-shirt. Japa, it's for you.
Regulate sex so you control it. It doesn't control you. What do you think about that, Raghunath?
Booyah. Yep, that's a big one. Regulate it. That means yes, you know what it means.
All right, that's the last one, I think.
That was it. Well, here we go. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. Thanks for Paramananda Prabhu. Oh, boy. I don't know if we don't have class tomorrow, unless Kostuba tells us we do, because I'm traveling. We're traveling to Berlin all day, and we have a yoga class in Berlin. And all of you that today is coming to the yoga class at Jiva Mukti, right across from the club in Berlin. So that's going to be fun. If you
live near Berlin, please crash it.
Yeah. After that is a driving day. So I can't do I think we're going to do it. Anyway, Mara's going to get the schedule out to everybody who's on. There is a list. There is like a Telegram. What's a Telegram?
Yeah.
There is a Telegram group that gets the mail outs that we tell people when the shows are happening. It's a wonky week, but I'm trying to keep it as regular as possible. Check out the Wisdom of the Sages website. And by the way, this was a great trip to Tuscany. We're going to do it again. And it was fun. We had so many people. I don't think the people made it. We had more people than last year. We had like 70 plus people. It didn't make it worse. I felt like it made it better.
I can honestly say that was the most incredible week ever.
It was an incredible week because it ties in like sort of nature, beauty, like Europe, great food mixed with bhakti and kirtan and meeting all these Zoomy faces that we see every day on Zoom, meeting others that are mysteriously out there.
That was the best part of it, meeting all the Zoomers. Harshal Gore, he's the greatest guy in the world. You got to love Harshal Gore. Is he here today?
I didn't see him, but he's out. He's probably out there.
Mathura Road Rajananda. He's like my brother. I feel like that guy's my lost brother. Yeah, I highly recommend it. It's a wonderful, wonderful week. Anyway, Raghu, we should wrap this up. It's 1:08. This guy's got to take a shower before he gets in the van.
I got to shower. I'm stinking up the whole room with my excitement is a scent. It's a beautiful day. For a beautiful day, let the magic continue. Haribo!